Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK back at you with another video here. Creating the 12-game NBA main slate on Wednesday. A couple things before I get into the video. If you're new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos talking about NBA DFS as well as NFL DFS. I'm also running a weekly $20 PayPal giveaway on my channel. How it works, all you have to do is leave a like and a comment in the video. That's one entry in the giveaway. Max one comment per video. So it starts with my Monday NBA video that I uploaded at the beginning of the week. We'll go throughout the week or end of my Monday NBA video at the end of the week. So however many videos I've uploaded for the week, you can enter the giveaway that many times. So for example, say if I have 10 videos uploaded for the week, you can enter the giveaway 10 times. And again, the winner sees $20 PayPal for myself. Also, I just wanted to say thank you guys for all the support. Seriously, again, I read all the comments on YouTube. I try to reply to all you guys on Twitter, the live streams too. Really do appreciate all the support. But, okay, with that out of the way, let's jump into the video. So lots to talk about here, 12 games. Excited to get back into it after a kind of day off today. Only one game today for the Clippers and the Mavs. I'm excited to watch that game right after I make this video. But, yeah, let's talk about these 12 games. So we can go over some numbers here for the games that are out right now. We have the Thunder and the Magic sitting at 209. With the Magic favored by 1.5, with the Lakers and the Knicks sitting at 224, with the Lakers favored by 11. So again, there's a little bit of blowout risk there. We have Grizzlies and Celtics sitting at 233, Boston 7-point favorites. 76ers and Raptors sitting at 218.5, with the Raptors favored by 6. We have the Nuggets and the Rockets sitting at 228.5, with the Rockets favored by 8. Timberwolves Bulls sitting at 219.5. Looks like it's a pick'em right now. Spurs, Pelicans, this one looks pretty appealing, 236 over-under, the Pelicans favored by 3.5. And we have Pacers, Suns right now sitting at 221.5. Looks like that's a pick'em as well. So, yeah, as always, we'll start with center. And we got Karl-Anthony Towns at the top at 10.4. Now this is going to be his fourth game back from that prolonged absence. He's played 28, 27. He got 35 minutes the last game, which that's good to see. So, now I think Cat is back into the territory of you can target him, right? Because those first few games back, I couldn't target him at under 30 minutes. But now if we're going to get like his normal allotment of minutes, like mid-30s minutes, I think he's definitely viable. Again, that Bulls front court is very, very depleted right now. No Wendell Carter Jr., no Daniel Gafford. Cat's going to be matched up against Luke Cornett, maybe Cristiano Felicio, or Lauri Markkanen if they run small ball. It's a really, really good matchup. And again, we saw 35 minutes from Cat the last game. So I think he is definitely in play on the slate as a spun-up center. As far as Anthony Davis goes at 9.9, so these Lakers guys, I'm a little bit torn. It's a good spot for the Knicks, but 11-point spread, there definitely is a decent amount of blowout risk here. Also, in his first game back from about 2 weeks of absence there for AD, they limited his minutes to 28 minutes. Now, again, that game blowout's only at 23. We'll see. If he's not going to be on a minutes limit, I think you can consider him. If they're going to still limit his minutes, there's no way I can get to AD there. Andre Drummond, this is huge news. This is slate-changing news. He is listed as questionable. If he can't go, then Christian Wood becomes the top play of the slate for sure. Then we can look at some of those other value Pistons as well. So this is huge right now. Now, I'm going to guess he's going to be able to go since it's only a lip laceration. I assume, again, it's like a cut on his lip. That leads me to believe that he will be able to go. At 9.4, I think that does stand out as a pretty good price for him. Going up against a Kings defense that has no Rashawn Holmes, he'll be matched up with Marvin Bagley a good amount. Bagley, one of the worst defenders in the NBA. So this is also a spot where I would very much consider Drummond. Now, again, if he misses, that changes everything. It's Christian Wood. Then we look at some of those value plays for the Pistons. So definitely something to keep an eye on there with the status of Drummond. Jokic, again, he is the most frustrating player to roster this year, for sure. But we have, once again, all those Denver guys listed as questionable, right? Jamal Murray, Paul Millsap, Gary Harris. If all three of those guys miss once again in this up-tempo game against Houston, this could be a ceiling game for Jokic. So I would very much consider him, especially if those three Denver guys get rolled out. Let's see, DeAndre Ayton has been playing huge minutes since he got inserted in the starting lineup. We have Aaron Baines ruled out once again, too. 35, 36, 39 minutes the last game against the Spurs. He's been a double-double machine here, 20 and 10, 26 and 21, 26 and 15, 25 and 12. Yeah, he is really turning the corner here in the recently. So, and again, no Aaron Baines. I think his minutes we get 35 to 40 from him probably. So you can very much consider Ayton, even at an elevated price point. I think he is viable as well. Don't mind Gobert either. He always seems like a safe option, right? He's always going to get 35 plus minutes in a close game. Golden State. I don't really see Willie Cauley-Stein or Marquise Chris hanging with Gobert, so he's also viable. There's a lot of definitely good spend-up centers on the slate. Even like a guy like Bam Adebayo, right? 8.4K, but he still has upside, especially in this match against Washington. So, yeah, there's a lot of good spend-ups. Vucevic at 8.3. I think he is perfectly fine as well. He's not a guy that has enormous upside, but I think he is slightly underpriced. Sabonis, I really like here at 7.9K. The price came down on him. Now, he had an off game there against the Jazz, but that was a tough spot. The game blew out. He only got 28 minutes. Not super worried about that. This game against Minnesota, too, where he got limited. He got in foul trouble. So, again, not super concerned about those two games. Other than that, he's been really, really consistent. And we're getting him at a discounted price. And he'll be matched up with DeAndre Ayton a good amount. DeAndre Ayton, pretty good offensively, not very good in the defensive end. So I do like Sabonis a good amount here at that price. Definitely one of my favorite plays of the day as of right now. Randall, I think it's just more of a GPP option, revenge game spot. It's just tricky, in a tougher spot here against the Lakers. It makes it hard for me to get to him when you have a lot of these, spend-up centers who are in much better spots, right? Like Cat against that depleted Chicago front court. You got Drummond probably getting matched up against Marvin Bagley a lot. Jokic in an up-tempo spot. Ayton's been playing huge minutes. Gobert in a good spot. Bam and Adebayo in a good spot. Vucevic is always safe. Sabonis in a really good spot, right? So there's a lot of guys at the top there that I have a lot of interest in. So it just makes it tricky for me to get to Randall in that matchup there against the Lakers. Capella at 7.5 is fine. He'll probably get about 35 minutes in this one. I don't know if he has the massive upside, though. So I think I'll probably pass there. Same thing with John Collins, 7.1. I don't think I want to go there. Now, these Raptors guys, so it's interesting. Like, what to do with these Toronto guys. Earlier in the season, a lot of the starters were getting close to 40 minutes a game, right? Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Siakam, they're all playing huge minutes. Now, it's kind of a different rotation. Like Siakam, 30, 25, 24, 29 minutes. Now, it is interesting to note in this game against Atlanta, it looks like it's close, but the bench unit took over there in that fourth quarter, and they went on a huge run. But then Atlanta made a huge run with 4 minutes left, and the starters for Toronto checked back in with a minute and a half left. So I have a feeling that if that bench unit doesn't go on that huge run, I think those starters probably get an extra, 4 or 5 minutes. So it's interesting, right? Even if those starters get those extra 4 or 5 minutes, like Siakam gets 33, 34 minutes at most. So he's really not getting as much run as he was earlier in the season. But the price has come down a lot. Draftkings did a good job. 6.9K makes Siakam very, very much in play. It's a little bit risky to target these guys right now because Toronto seems pretty content giving the bench unit a good amount of run. Let's see. Horford against Toronto, I'll probably pass there. Aldridge at 6.8, I think always stands out as a safe option. And this game in general, right, a 236.5 over-under, definitely an appealing game. So I do have some interest in Aldridge at this price. Montrezl Harrell, so I'm a little bit torn here just because his minutes, right, 20, 23, and 25 in a close game there against the Pelicans. So it's going to be interesting to see how many minutes he plays tonight, but right now he's not getting as much run as he has been. So unless he gets over 30 minutes in the game tonight, I don't know if I can target Montrez. JV, so I'm still really tilting about this from I believe that was the early slate. So his previous 4 games before that, 30, 29, 28, and 32 minutes. And this game against the Pelicans, he gets 21 minutes. So yeah, super, super tilting. Now, he was great in that time. 33 fantasy points in 21 minutes. Imagine if he gets his 30 minutes like he had been those last 4 games. If he gets 30 minutes, he probably gets over 50 fantasy points. So that's why I was so tilted with him only getting 21 minutes after we have seen basically 30 minutes from the last 4 games. So it's back to a situation where I thought we could trust his minutes, but it looks like it's back to, some nights he'll play 20 minutes, some nights he'll play 30 minutes, strictly for GPPs, right? I can't trust him for cash games. Favors his list as questionable. He seems to always be questionable. If he plays, I would have interest in him. If he can't go, and if Jahlil Okafor can't go, then we could look to Melly, we could look to Jackson Hayes' value plays. Let's see, Marvin Bagley, I actually do have some interest here at this price, just because we got saw 38 minutes from him. Now, that game did go to overtime, so I guess he was only on pace for 33, but that's good to see. Those minutes are creeping up, right? 23, 30, 30, 33 minutes. So I would have some interest here in Bagley. And again, they did a good job pricing him up to 6.5. He's not like the great value he was last game, but I still think he is in play. As far as the OKC guys, this is something to monitor. We have Adams listed as questionable. We have Nerlens Noel listed as questionable. If both those guys can't go, then Mike Muscala is going to become a very viable value big. If Adams can't go and Noel is available to play, I think Noel will become a solid value play. So this is definitely something to keep an eye on. Jeremy Grant at 5.6 did have a pretty solid game the last time out, but the Draftkings, again, they did a good job. 5.6K. I don't think I can pay 5.6K for him. Mahimi at 5.3. Again, there's just so many good spun-up centers. I know he had a good game that last game against Detroit. I'm not going to chase that. I just like a lot of those guys up in the top range. Ibaka, again, it's kind of hard to trust with these Toronto guys in their minutes. The big question here is what to do with Zion, right? Looks like he's going to be back for this one. They have him listed as questionable. It's clearly, how many minutes he's going to play, right? So we should get some news on how many minutes he's going to play going into this game tomorrow. If we get news that he's going to play, 15 minutes, then he can't go there. But if we get news that he's going to be on like a 25 or 30 minutes limit, then I think you definitely can consider him at 5K in this matchup. So it's all about how many minutes he's going to get. Hopefully we get some sort of clarity on that going into tomorrow. Miles Turner, I actually think is viable here at 5K as well. We know Phoenix runs big, right? Ayton plays huge minutes. So I think this could be a game of Miles Turner maybe gets extended a little bit. Now, he hasn't been getting the huge minutes, right? 23, 25, 20, 27. But again, this is a game where he gets extended a little bit. I think you can take a shot there just because of that price. Let's see. Marcus Saul's price is coming down, but again, his minutes have been a little bit up and down, 29, 20, 23. It's a little bit tricky to see what Toronto's going to do with this rotation. Now, I think the price tag does make him in play, 4.8K. I think does make him viable, but again, it's kind of hard to predict what they're going to do with their minutes. Mitchell Robinson's always viable for GPPs, but nothing I can trust for cash games. Cantor, kind of the same thing for GPPs, right? I pointed him out being my favorite play there on the Boston side that last time. 24 minutes at 34 fantasy points. He's just a GPP play, right? He can play 15 minutes. He can get 25 minutes. If he gets a higher end, he can crush, but it's just a GPP-only option for me. Let's see, so Nerlens Noel, he's listed as questionable. Again, if him and Adams can't go, we can look to Muscala. Okafor, he's listed as questionable. If him and Favors can't go, we can look to Hayes. We can look to Melly. Melly had a really good game, but he shot lights out. 29 minutes, 29 fantasy points. I personally would go back to the well Jackson Hayes. I know he was kind of a letdown, but it was just, Melly shooting the lights out. So if both those guys are out for the Pelicans, I think I would prefer Hayes to Melly. Zubac at 4.1 is always viable. He'll get somewhere between 15 to 20 minutes. In a good spot, I can see taking a shot on him at that price. Christian Wood, right, so this is clearly dependent on Drummond news. If Drummond is not able to go, Wood is the best value play of the day by far. If Drummond's playing, I don't think I can go there. He's just not seeing enough minutes when Drummond plays. Yeah, I got Mike Muscala, right? I'm not super excited about playing Mike Muscala, but if both Steven Adams and Nerlens Noel are out, they don't really have any other bigs. So I know he was really bad that last game in Houston, 25 minutes, 8 fantasy points, but I would definitely consider him as a value play if both those guys are out. And that basically wraps up for center. So, yeah, again, there's a lot of guys I liked here. Guys at the top, right? A lot of those guys in the good spots, and some of those cheap centers I talked about, dependent on injuries, right? We got to wait for that news. As far as power forward goes, I think Ingram's very much viable. Now, he does take a hit with Drew Holiday coming back to that offense, right? Doesn't have as much upside, but this is a very appealing game. So don't know if I would go there for cash games, but I think maybe you can consider him as part of a game stack for GPPs. Let's see, Tatum. So we do have Jaylen Brown listed as questionable. If Jaylen Brown can't go, then I would consider guys like Tatum, guys like Gordon Hayward, right? They would get more run. So, that's definitely something to keep an eye on. Memphis, not very good defensively. Tatum's at a very fair price point. So I would look to him. I would look to Hayward if Jaylen Brown can't go. Gallinari's been really, really consistent, but not a very good spot here against Orlando. I think I'll probably pass there. Let's see, Michael Porter Jr., I don't think I can do it for cash games, but if all those guys are out once again for Denver, I think you can take a shot for GPPs. Now, if all those guys are out and Michael Porter Jr. starts, then I would have more interest, because then I think his minutes would be, probably over 30. And in an up-tempo game against Houston, I would very much consider him. So right now, if all three of those guys are out for Denver and he comes off the bench, I think he's only a GPP play. If all three of those guys are out and Michael Porter Jr. starts, I think you can consider him for cash and GPPs. But if a couple of those guys come back for Denver, I don't think I could go there. Let's see, Pascal. Yeah, so these Golden State guys, they were super short-handed. We got a surprise late scratch there from Draymond. Draymond's going to be back. That just takes a hit to everyone for Golden State. And again, really bad spot there against Utah, so don't think I want to go there. Yeah, Hayward again. Him, Tatum, I would look to if Jaylen Brown can't go. Let's see. Other options here. Not a whole lot that really stands out. Like these secondary Detroit pieces, these would be guys I would consider if Drummond can't go, right? So it would be definitely Christian Wood first, but then these other guys, you can consider Markieff Morris, Sekou. You can consider these guys for sure if Drummond can't go. Let's see, James Johnson. I can't do that with Jimmy Butler coming back. He did get 29 minutes, had a really good game, 22 real-life points. But with Jimmy Butler back in the lineup, I just don't see enough minutes for me to consider him. Is Markieff Moore? Oh, he's probably, yeah. So again, him. Like, these are guys we can consider if Drummond can't go for sure. But that wraps up for power forward. So let's move on to small forward. Again, these Laker guys, I think there's more GPP plays. The blowout risk is real here. Now, it's a really good spot, right? But 11-point spread. I don't think I'm going to get to 10.8K for LeBron. I get it if you want to go there, but probably not going to be with it. I go. Kawhi Leonard, really good. One of the best spots here against Atlanta. Atlanta has been just horrid defensively. They played a really fast pace, no defense. So I think you can consider Kawhi for sure as a spin-up. The issue is there's not a whole lot of great value on the slate right now. Now, again, things can open up, right? There's a lot of guys questionable. If like a lot of those guys end up missing, then we get some value. So then we could look to some of these more of these spend-ups. So yeah, it's tricky right now because there's not a whole lot of great value plays. But if some value opens up for sure, then you can definitely look to Kawhi at 10.5K in a really good spot there against Atlanta. Ben Simmons, he was the thumbnail to my early slate video. Him and Lillard, I tweeted out. So Ben Simmons was the thumbnail to my early video. Lillard to the late video for Martin Luther King Day. Both those guys combined for almost 180 points. Now, Ben Simmons was like 8% owned in that early slate. He was massive. 42 minutes, 84 fantasy points. If you played him, you cashed that early slate. So hopefully you guys got some Ben Simmons in you that last slate. Now, in this match against Toronto, I still think he's viable, but doesn't really stand out at that price. Jimmy Butler missed the last game. Looks he's going to be back for this one. Even in a good spot, like Jimmy's he's been up and down. 8.5K. I don't know if I could do it. Now, DeMar DeRozan has been just Mr. Consistent here recently. Just look at his recent game logs, right? 40, 37, 44, 62, 44, 49, 51, 45, 44. He's playing 35-plus minutes. This is one of the best spots against the Pelicans. We know the Pelicans played a really fast pace, so I think DeMar DeRozan stands as a pretty safe option. Him and Aldridge are pretty priced pretty fairly, in my opinion. So I do like both those guys a decent amount as safe options. You can also look to them for GPPs as well, right? Will Barton. So this is kind of dependent on those other guys for Denver, right? If Murray, Harris, Millsap can't go, then I would definitely look to Will Barton at this price. who's just going to have to do a lot more offensively if all three of those guys are out in a really up-tempo game against Houston. So, yeah, again, that's kind of dependent on that news with those other Denver guys. Tobias at 7.3, I'll probably pass. Now, Beal at 7.2 does intrigue me here. So, I wasn't really on him these last few games because they've been limiting his minutes, 27, 27, 23. He got 33 that last game against Detroit, which is good to see. Now, that's still not his normal minutes like he was playing early in the season. He was playing like 38 to 40 early in the season, but his minutes are starting to creep back up. And if we get like 35 minutes out of Brad Beal at this price, I think he is certainly in play. Now, the issue here is Miami, right? Pretty solid defensively, so it's not really the best spot, but it is good to see those minutes are coming up for Beal, so I think he's certainly in play. Let's see, yeah, again, Jaylen Brown, this is pretty significant. If he can't go, we look to Tatum, we look to Hayward, we can look to Marcus Smart, even Kemba Walker, right? Those other four guys get a pretty big boost. Let's see, other options. Not a whole lot I'm excited about in this mid-tier. Norman Powell's been playing really well, but he's been shooting the lights out. He's also kind of scoring dependent. He's got to knock down those threes. 23, 28, 20, 27 real-life points coming out the bench. Kind of the reason why like Lowry and Fred VanVleet are being limited a bit because Norman Powell's playing really well. Yeah, I think I'm going to pass here. I'll let others chase. I don't think he keeps up this, his shooting. So, yeah, I'm going to pass there and again, I think his ownership will be somewhat high because of those recent games. I actually don't hate TJ Warren here at 5.5K. It's a revenge spot. Now, normally, I'm not a big TJ Warren guy because he is pretty scoring dependent just looking at those game logs. But we got a revenge spot. We have a really good matchup. We have a guy priced down to 5.5K. Normally this guy's going to get 30 to 35 minutes. So I have some interest here at TJ Warren at this price. Joe Ingles, they're just not moving his price. I'm going to keep playing him if they're going to continue to put him at this price. Now, he only got 27 minutes there against the Pacers, but that game was a blowout, so wouldn't be super concerned about that. Other than that, he's been getting over 30 minutes. The thing I love about Joe Ingles is just those peripheral stats, right? He gets the assists, the rebounds, gets you some blocks and steals, and when he has a really good shooting night, like he can heat up from the 3-point line. If he has one of those nights where he's knocking down threes, he can get you over 40 fantasy points, right? We've seen it these last, two of the last 5 games, he's gotten over 40 fantasy points. And at 5.3K against Golden State doesn't have a whole lot of great defenders. They're not going to put Draymond Green on Joe Ingles. So, yeah, I have a good amount of interest here in Joe Ingles. I really like that price tag. I think he stands as a really safe play, in my opinion. Bogdan just hasn't really been the same since he's been dealing with injuries. He did get 34 minutes the last game, but I just can't go to him yet. Let's see. Yes, Fee, I wouldn't be super excited about, but I would consider him. These are guys I would consider the secondary Detroit pieces if Drummond can't go. Glenn Robinson is questionable or probable, right? Him coming back, Draymond Green coming back. It just takes those secondary Golden State pieces out of play for me. Let's see. Jeremy Lamb's minutes are down. I can't go there. OG Anunoby at 4.2. His minutes have kind of been going down too, right? He's been very up and down. But, at this price, it makes him interesting. 4.2K is very cheap. If he's playing well, they could extend him to 30-plus minutes. So, yeah, I think he is viable as a cheap play. Again, the last couple games have not been good for DFS purposes, but there could be a situation where he gets hot and they play him 30-plus minutes. If that's the case, he could crush the salary. So I do have some interest there in OG. Let's see. Other options. JJ Redick at 4.1. My concern is they have Zion coming back, most likely. So that's just another body in the rotation. I think he would be okay, but I would just be worried about his minutes, right? RHJ, he's been getting extended a bit, 19, 24, 20 minutes. I think he's okay value play at that price. That kind of wraps up, though. Again, there's not a whole lot of great value plays right now. But again, there's a lot of guys questionable, so there could be value opening up for sure here. Now let's talk about James Harden at 11.2K. He's been on a tough stretch here shooting-wise, right? 13 of 37, 3 of 12, 8 of 20, 9 of 29. It's been the Russell Westbrook show recently. Now, 11.2K is a very fair price tag for Harden. We have, possibly Gary Harris ruled out. If that's the case, that's a pretty big boost to Harden because Gary Harris is a pretty solid defender. I do like me some James Harden tonight for GPPs. Again, it's going to make it tricky right now to get him in for cash just because there's not a whole lot of great value plays. But I just think, everyone's going to continue to try to ride that Westbrook train. Now, I have no issue with that, right? If you like riding the hot hand, for sure you can go to Westbrook because he's been playing amazing. I'm kind of a guy on DFS that likes buying low on guys, that likes buying on guys who are having off games and hoping for a bounce back because their price is dropping, right? Harden was at 13K a few games ago. Now he's at 11.2. So I think he's very much viable as a contrarian GPP play just because I don't think he's going to be that high owned. And we know Harden, even with Westbrook playing, he can put up 70, 80 on a really good night. Zach LaVine at 9K, he's been playing really well this season. He's getting the big minutes. He's shooting the ball a ton. This match against Minnesota is pretty solid too. I just think he's priced accordingly. He can definitely get you there at this price for sure, but I don't really think he stands out. Now Paul George, I believe he is. Let's see, join the Clippers for remains out. So this is something to keep an eye on for sure. If he is available to play for this game, then that would kind of take Kawhi out of play for me. That would definitely take a hit to Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell. So this is pretty significant news. Definitely something to keep an eye on there for sure. Devin Booker's been playing amazing. Again, if you like riding hot streaks for guys, he's playing huge minutes too. So I'm okay with that at 8.7. Not really the best spot, but again, he's been playing great basketball. Drew Holiday came back and had a huge game. 32 minutes, 52 fantasy points. Shot the ball really well. This is a really good spot. I think he's more in play for a GPP game stack, and this game is very, very appealing. I don't know if he stands out as like a great cash game play, but he's certainly viable. Lou Williams. So again, one of the best spots here against Atlanta. I think if Paul George gets ruled out, you can definitely consider him. Now, if Paul George is available to play, then I probably look elsewhere. SGA's been good, but I don't want to play him there against Orlando. D Rose. So this is kind of dependent on Drummond news. If Drummond can't go, I would very much consider D Rose. We have to do a lot more offensively. Fred VanVleet, right? So the question is what to do with these Toronto guys. 28 and 26 minutes in his first couple games back from injuries. So that is definitely concerning, right? He was the guy that was playing close to 40 minutes early in the season. But Draftkings did a good job lowering his price. 6.6K, I think it makes him viable. I'm just, again, slightly concerned about this minutes. Like even if that bench unit doesn't go off and he comes back with like 5 or 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter, he only gets like 30, maybe 31 minutes. So it's just concerning right now with these Toronto guys and their rotations. Burks had a huge game, but again, playing the Jazz, we have Glenn Robinson, we have Draymond coming back. I just can't do that. Kendrick Nunn's been really, really good here. He got 43 minutes the last game. Again, that went to overtime, so I guess he's only on pace for 38. Jimmy Butler coming back does kind of cap his upside, but really good spot here. So again, if you're a guy that likes riding the hot streaks, I think he is still in play. Other options, Marcus Smart would be someone I would consider if Jaylen Brown gets ruled out, but normally I like going to Marcus Smart when Kemba can't go, because we've seen that upside, right? I was huge on him in the game against Phoenix, 68 fantasy points when he played the point guard. His upside when he kind of plays off the ball is just not very high. So, yeah, he would be okay if Brown gets ruled out, but I think my priorities would be, try to get maybe Hayward or Tatum or maybe Kemba. I already talked about really liking Joe Ingles. I think he's a very, very safe play. Other options, let's see. Derek White had a big game last time, but his price is coming up. I don't think I can pay 4.8K for Derek White. Like Tyler Hero can't go there yet. They're limiting his minutes. There's just not a whole lot of great value plays. Bazemore's going to be available for Sacramento, but who knows what his minutes are going to be like, right? So that wraps up for shooting guard. Let's move on to point guard. Yeah, so I think Westbrook is going to be a lot higher owned compared to Harden. Now he's been playing great, right? 42, 40, 38 minutes. He's been shooting the ball amazing, too. 16 of 24, 15 of 23, 11 of 22, 69, 60, and 70 fantasy points. So you can't deny what Westbrook's been doing. And I have no issue if you want to go with Westbrook, right? I think he's still a solid play here at this price. I just think he's gonna be a lot more popular than Harden. And if I'm playing GPPs, I might consider going to Harden for an extra $1,000. So I think this is going to go a lot lower owned. But yeah, if you're a guy that likes riding those hot streaks, right, I've mentioned that a few times, you can for sure go to Westbrook, who's been playing great basketball. I have no issue with him at all at that price. Trae Young is just, I think, very much viable for GPPs. He's kind of matchup independent. Like, it doesn't matter. He can go off in bad spots. We've seen him have good games against the Jazz. We've seen him have good games, against Denver. So he can still have big, 73 against Toronto. Toronto, pretty solid defensively. He put up 73. So I know the Clippers are a good defensive team. I know Pat Beverly is a good defender. I think that's going to very, 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 lower the ownership of Trae Young. But he can still go off in a bad matchup. So I don't know if I would go there for cash games, but certainly for GPPs, he's in play. De'Aaron Fox at 8.3. It's tempting, but I don't know. With Bogdan back in that rotation, I know he played 38, but that game went to overtime, so he's only on pace for 33. His minutes haven't been as high as they were when Bogdan was out, right? 38, 37, and 38 when Bogdan was out. With Bogdan in, right, 31 and 33 in regular time, so that kind of caps his upside with him playing only low 30s minutes. Now, D'Angelo Russell, this is my big question mark here. What am I going to do with D'Angelo Russell? This is obviously not the best spot here, but he's just going to have to do it all offensively for Golden State, right? 17, 18, 21. Shot the ball 27 times the last game against Portland. So he's shooting the ball a ton. He's getting the peripheral stats. I know this is not the best spot, but I still think there is upside for D'Angelo Russell at this price point. Rubio at 7.7, I'll probably pass. John Moran against Boston, I don't think so. Kemba, I believe he's listed as probable. Yep, so fully expect him to go. Again, if Brown can't go, then you can certainly consider those other Boston guys. Brogdon, I think, is definitely viable here at 7.1. Really good spot here against Phoenix. Wouldn't be super worried about the last game again. That was a blowout. But yeah, him, Sabonis, I do like on the Pacers side. Even T.J. Warren, I think, is viable. Lonzo Ball, so with Drew Holiday coming back, his minutes went down a little bit. Still got 34 minutes. This game is going to be really appealing, right? 236, I believe it was, right? Let me confirm that. Yeah, 236 right now. So this game's going to be played at a really fast pace. With Zion possibly coming back, that hurts him too. So something to keep an eye on for sure. I still think even if Zion plays, I still think you can look to Lonzo. But that definitely would cap his upside a little bit. So, yeah, we got to keep an eye on the Zion status for sure. Right, again, the question with these Toronto guys is they're very appealing price-wise. I don't know how many minutes they're going to get. There's a chance they can go back to the normal minutes if Kyle Lowry gets over 35, or there's a chance they keep playing these guys under 30 minutes. So, the Toronto is a big question mark for me. I just don't know what I'm going to do with those guys. Other options, yeah, not a whole lot I like in this price range. Like Alfred Payton against the Lakers, I'll pass. Now, Pat Beverly at 5.4 does intrigue me here. He's been pretty solid recently. He's a guy that gets a lot of the peripheral stats, and they're going to need his defense against Trae Young. So I think Pat Beverly is a pretty solid play here in the mid-tier. Now, if Paul George comes back, that definitely takes a hit to Pat Beverly's usage. So, again, something to keep an eye on with his status. But I think he does stand out if Paul George can't go. DeJounte Murray, always viable for GPPs, right? His minutes are up and down. His production is way up and down. But on good nights, like Murray can have, 30, 40 fancy points. Let's see. Other options. Like Monte Morris at 4.8. He did get 36 minutes, which is good to see. This hasn't had huge upside with Jamal Murray out. Now, I think if all three of those guys are out once again, you could consider him. He just wouldn't stand out as a great play to me. Jeff Teague, I think, is a viable GPP play. In his first game with Atlanta, played 25 minutes. The last game against Toronto, only 11. So, obviously if he gets like 25, I would like him, but who knows what his minutes are going to be like, right? So, strictly for GPPs. But that basically wraps it up. So, yeah, there's a lot of injury news we're waiting on. 12 games. There's again a lot of info, so it's very important to follow me on Twitter, guys. That will be in the description below. But again, let me give a brief overview of each team. So on the Philadelphia side, no one really stands out in a tougher spot. Like I'm okay if you get to Ben Simmons, but not a whole lot stands out there for me. On the Toronto side, this is the big question mark, right? A lot of the guys are underpriced, but no one's playing huge minutes right now. So I think there's definitely some appeal to Toronto, but who knows what their minutes are going to be like. OKC Orlando, this game in general, it's kind of a fade for me. Two pretty solid defensive teams. Like no one really stands out on the OKC side. Like Orlando, Vucevic is okay, but not a whole lot I like there. Sacramento and Detroit, I think Bagley's viable at 6.5, but again, Draftkings did a good job raising his price. Fox upside is kind of capped with Bogdan being back, so not a whole lot really stands out there either. On the Detroit side, this is the big question mark, right? The status of Drummond. If he can't go, that changes everything. Then Christian Wood becomes a very viable value play. Then you can look to Markieff Morris. You can look to these other secondary pieces like Bruce Brown, Sekou, and then Derrick Rose obviously get a huge boost. So that's huge news. If Drummond plays, I would like him at that price. Lakers Knicks. This is more of just GPP plays for me on the Lakers side because of the potential for a blowout. Like LeBron, AD. If AD is limited, it can't go there. LeBron at 10.8 just seems priced accordingly. On the Knicks side, not a whole lot I like here either. I think Randall's viable for GPPs, but there's just so many good spend-up bigs. On the Washington side, not a whole lot I like here besides Brad Beal. He did get extended the last game, 33 minutes. So if his minutes are going to continue to go up, even in a tough spot, I would consider him. On the Miami side, I think Bam's viable in a good spot. Jimmy's okay, but doesn't really stand out. Kendrick Nunn's been playing really well, so I get it if you want to target him. Memphis, Boston. On the Memphis side, not a whole lot stands out in a tougher spot, but the Boston side is definitely more appealing here, especially if Jaylen Brown can't go. Then we can look to Hayward, Tatum, even Kemba Walker, right? So something to keep an eye on there with the status of Jaylen Brown. On the Clippers side, it's all about the status of Paul George. If he can't go, we could certainly look to Kawhi, Lou Williams, Montrez, even Pat Beverly. If Paul George is able to play, it definitely takes a hit to everyone. So that's certainly something to keep an eye on. The Atlanta side, not a whole lot I like here besides Trae Young. He's more of just a GPP play, right? He can still have a huge upside game even in a tough spot. On the Denver side, again, this is kind of dependent on injury news. If Jamal Murray, Millsap, and Gary Harris can't go, then we go to Jokic and Barton at the top. I think Michael Porter Jr. become viable, especially if he starts. So certainly something to keep an eye on with those three Denver guys. On the Houston side, I think Harden and Westbrook are really solid spend-ups. I think Westbrook's going to go a lot higher on because he's been playing really well. But I wouldn't mind taking the shot on James Harden. Hopefully he has a good shooting night. Minnesota, Chicago. So I think my only play here on the Minnesota side is Cat, just because of this great matchup here, right? Chicago very, very thin in the front court. So Cat does seem appealing there. He got 35 minutes last game out. So I do like him as a spend-up. I just don't really know who's going to guard him on the Chicago side. At Chicago, Levine's okay, but that's really it. Not a whole lot stands out there. As far as the Pacers go, this is a pretty good spot. So I do like Sabonis a good amount. I think he stands as a really solid, safe play. Also don't mind Brogdon or TJ Warren. I think Miles Turner's okay as well. On the Phoenix side, right, Booker and Ayton are playing huge minutes. I think those guys are viable spend-ups, but don't really know if they stand out as amazing plays here in a tougher spot against the Pacers. Spurs and Pelicans, this game stands out as a really appealing game for DFS purposes. DeRozan and Aldridge, I think, are a little bit underpriced. You could always look to a guy like DeJounte Murray as well, who's very, very up and down, but only for GPPs. On the Pelican side, there's a lot of injury news up in the air right now. The status of Zion, the status of Favors, the status of Okafor, Josh Hart's questionable. Redick has a questionable tag. So there is just a lot to keep an eye on there for the Pelicans side. As far as Utah and Golden State, I think Gobert is certainly viable, but again, there's a lot of good spend-up centers. I like Joe Ingles a good amount of 5.3. I just think that is too cheap for him, for a guy that probably gets over 30 minutes in a good matchup. So I do like Joe Ingles a good amount. On the Golden State side, with Draymond coming back, with Glenn Robinson coming back, it's kind of only D'Angelo Russell, and that's it for me at that price. And that's basically it. So, also, I will be live streaming for this 12-game slate 45 minutes before lock on my YouTube channel, so be sure to check out the live stream, guys. I will go over all the news that we get throughout the day. I will, go give you guys a team-by-team breakdown. I'll kind of give you guys my core plays for cash games, then I can answer any questions you guys have at the end. So very, very important to check the live stream tomorrow. But yeah, like I said, I think that's going to do it for today's video, guys. So if you have been enjoying the content, would really appreciate if you like this video and subscribe if you haven't. Again, if you want to get entered in the giveaway, all you have to do is leave a like and a comment in the video. That's one entry in the giveaway. But yeah, I'll be back for another video to break down, Thursday slate. And again, I'll be live streaming 45 minutes before lock. So thanks again, guys, and I will see you guys all tomorrow in the live stream.